Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Today I want to talk to you about the Fiance Visa, otherwise known as the K1 visa. I'll go over some key requirements for this petition and also go through some things to keep in mind in order to have a successful application before the Immigration Service. My name is Yalda Hijabi, and I focus my practice primarily on employment-based immigration and family-based immigration. So let's get started. A key component of the Fiancé Visa is for a U.S. citizen to petition for their fiancé to come to the United States. Keyword there is U.S. citizen, which means that if you are a green card holder or you have a non-immigrant U.S. visa, you cannot petition for your fiancé. Another key component of this application is that you are already engaged to the foreign national who you want to bring to the U.S. There needs to be some indication of a proposal, whether it's with a ring or any other avenue that shows that you are already engaged. Once the foreign national enters the United States, there needs to be a showing and of proof that you will marry within 90 days of their arrival. This is something to elaborate on and make note of in the affidavits that you, the U.S. citizen, and your fiancé can write about in their petition. So plans for the future, where you intend to get married, the type of wedding ceremony you intend to have in the United States, and etc. Another key component of this application is that there needs to be a showing that you actually have met at least once in person in the past 2 years. This is a general rule, meaning that there are exceptions to this given the day and age that we are in, but typically there needs to be a showing that the two of you have met. There also needs to be a showing of some bona fides of your relationship. So photos you've taken together, travel itineraries, photos with each other's family members and friends, any activity that you've really done together to show that you are in a valid relationship and that you have the intent to get married. The K1 visa is a pretty straightforward application with USCIS. You just have to file Form I-129 with the accompanying documents such as the travel itineraries that you have. I always like to include affidavits from the petitioner and the foreign national that wishes to enter the U.S. and any other documentation that shows that you are in fact engaged and that your relationship is valid. Once the I-129 petition is approved, then you move to step 2 to file for the DS-160, which is the non-immigrant visa application that you need to complete with the relative consulate in the foreign national's home country or a third country if that's applicable. Again, it's really important to show USCIS that you have a valid relationship and that you are intending to get married once you enter the United States. These documentary showings of the I-129 are even more important today, given the heightened scrutiny that the Immigration Service is having on cases to ensure that there is no marriage fraud. Keep all of that in mind. Ensure that you're showing to USCIS that your relationship, in fact, is valid, and be sure to include proof that you will be getting married within 90 days of arriving in the United States. In terms of which petition to apply for when thinking about a marriage-based green card versus a fiancé visa, you really need to look at where you are in your relationship. Of course, if you're already married, you would file for the marriage-based green card and not the fiancé visa. But let's say you're newer in the relationship, you're trying to figure things out, you're thinking about getting engaged and then married. Well, think about where you are geographically. For a marriage-based green card, we need documents that show and prove that you have a joint life together. So joint leases, joint car insurance, joint health insurance, and so forth. these requirements are not in place for a fiance visa, so it's a little bit different. And of course, always speak to a seasoned and experienced immigration attorney when deciding to choose between the two. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you for your time today.